What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome back to the Madden 20 Ratings Prediction Series, where we're going to be taking a look at my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, a team that, all buys aside, is probably going to be, in terms of like a Madden roster, definitely fringe top 5 in terms of overall talent, which means, yet again, I'm kind of a victim of my team's old success, because they're not going to be really that fun to play with in Madden, because they're all going to be so good right off the block. I mean, I'm sure there's a way that we could find some intriguing storylines to take over the Eagles, especially because I do think Carson Wentz, I even think non-biased aside, I think when everyone generally gets the game, I think Carson Wentz will be one of those players that will be regarded as like, man, Madden really dogged him on his rating. But yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into my little predictions here for how I think the team is going to shape up. At the quarterback spot, Carson Wentz, I'm personally going to give him an 85. I know that his rating is going to be probably... You know, with the new rating scale, there's a chance Carson Wentz is in the high 70s. My gut says he's probably going to be right around 80, 81, maybe 82. I think he should be, you know, he's a top 10 quarterback. I don't care what bias, what team you support. If you're listing out the top quarterbacks in the National Football League, if Carson Wentz isn't in your top 10, I'm not saying he needs to be 5. I'm not saying he needs to be, you're an idiot, a football idiot. Carson Wentz is like 12th. And he should be in that 12 to about an 84, 85 type rating. Last season, with a literal broken back, the first Eagles quarterback to throw for 4,000 passing yards in a season with a broken back, probably would have been around, you know, dozen interceptions or so, which would put him right along, like I said, literally top 10. Jordan Howard from the Chicago Bears, we'll give him an 83. You know, he is what he is. He's a fringe elite running back, never really been elite, even though his stats kind of say he's elite. Like, I remember, like, since he's come to the league, he's has the 3rd most rushing yards. So, yeah, that would assume that he's elite. But really, when you watch Jordan Howard play, he's like one of those guys that he's only going to get the yards that are given to him. He's not a guy that's ever going to take over a game. But that kind of works for what Philadelphia has going for us. We have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Jordan Howard to hit the hole. And I think what is paramount with Jordan Howard when we talk about the Eagles running backs is he doesn't miss games. Philadelphia is a team that's been banged up every position. Even the year we won the Super Bowl, we were missing like half our stars due to injury. So a guy like Jordan Howard, his availability is a huge get for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to give him an 83. Rated receiving threat, I'm going to give him 77. We got Miles Sanders, kind of a surprise pick, but we got him in the 2nd round. His tape is exciting, even though he's missed all of OTAs and like all the offseason so far with a hamstring, which is a little bit worrisome. He'll get a 73, being the 2nd running back drafted. Actually should get a generous rating from Madden. Smallwood 73, Adams 73, Boston Scott 71. We got a lot of running backs. At wide receiver, we're giving Alshon Jeffrey an 87 overall. Last season, 65 catches, 850 yards, 6 touchdowns in only 13 games. You know, you know, hasn't broke 1,000 yards yet with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though Alshon Jeffrey, he is one of those players that if you watch him play for the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, he will dog some of the best corners in the National Football League. In terms of a jump ball wide receiver, he's arguably the best, if not top 3 in the 85 plus for Alshon Jeffrey is a good starting point in Madden 20. We have Deshaun Jackson, who still is one of the best deep threats in the National Football League. He's getting an 85. Nelson Agholor, again, kind of overvalued from Madden, in my opinion. I mean, when people probably clicked this video, thought I was going to be biased with Eagles. I will say there was more Eagles that I knocked down the rating from where it finished in Madden 19. Opportunity for him to play on the outside last season to try and, you know, fill in the shoes of Alshon Jeffrey. He really couldn't take that over, and he really has pigeonholed himself as a slot. He still is a good, definitely in a bit, not at that 10 breaking point, but we'll give him an 82. Matt Collins 72, JJ Arcega-Whiteside 72, and there's the rest. Hey, we got Charles Johnson, AAF All-Star. That's cool. Tight end, we give Zach Ertz a 95 overall, which is the 2nd highest rating behind Mr. Kelsey. 1 point or 2 points, I think, ahead of Kittle. But I think they are the big 3. Last season, Zach Ertz, 116 receptions, breaking the record for most receptions by a tight end in National Football League history. 1,100 yards, almost 1,200 yards, and 8 total touchdowns. Big time favorite target from Carson Wentz. We're going to need him to target other players this upcoming season. We have Dallas Goedert, who, out of the rookie class last year, season, you're going to have a lot of Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz on the field. And you're going to know, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be as close to the second coming of a Gronk and Aaron Hernandez type deal that we've seen. You know, in terms of talent, I mean, you look at what's going on with the Colts. In terms of, you know, everyone knows Jack Dole's pretty good. Ebron got 14 touchdowns. You would assume they have the best two tight end sets. You know, keep an eye on the Eagles. Keep an eye on the Eagles. Dallas Goedert, Came in, human highlight reel catching from South Dakota State. Looked like Odell Beckham Jr. Literally, not even over-exaggerating. If you type in Dallas Goedert college stats, it's literally him just one-arm mossing dudes in the red zone. It's ridiculous. And then he came in and like graded as one of the best run blockers last year for Pro Football Focus. So he's incredibly well-rounded. I think he only played 8 starts. Only had 8 starts and had 33 catches, 330 yards, so averaged 10 yards a catch and 4 touchdowns. Keep an eye on Dallas Goedert, Philly Goddard, for those of you that are fans of the channel. Offensive line, we have Jason Peters. I had to knock him down a couple. I think he was an 88. I mean, he can't stay on the field. When he's on the field, he's pretty good, but he's definitely starting to show his age a little bit. So I think 86 is a fair starting point for Jason Peters. So I'm slightly undervaluing him than what Madden had. They have Dillard, who was their first-round selection. We'll give him a 74. Nice athletic offensive lineman. We have Siumalu, 74. Kelsey, 95. Best center in football by like a considerable amount. I think Jason Kelsey is the new Gronk, where I thought, and even, less to an extent the last couple years, but because of the emergence of Travis Kelsey in relation to the second closest guy, now that Gronk's retired, I think that honor goes to Jason Kelsey. I think Jason Kelsey is so far away from the rest of the centers in National Football League. You got Alex Mack, who's really good. Frederick from the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, his health status is still kind of affecting where you rate him. But Jason Kelsey, even just Pro Football Focus is saying he is so much better than the next best player at his position. So I think he's the new Gronk from that regard. Brandon Brooks gets to 92, one of the best guards that hasn't given him a sack in like 5 years for the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully for a speedy recovery for him because he tore his Achilles, I think it was, in the playoff game. Big V, Hal Vaitai, is actually moved into guard during training camp, so we'll move him here to guard. Lane Johnson gets an 89. One of the best tackles in football. And then we have Mylott at 65. On the defensive side, Derek Barnett, we're going to give him an 80 overall. Actually, this is what his rating was in Madden. I'm just going to keep it as is. Looked to be a breakout star for the Philadelphia Eagles, and like everyone else on the team, got hurt in only 6 games last year. 2.5 sacks, 5 TFL. So using just football math, just multiply that by like 3. That's the kind of stats you get for Derek Barnett, which will put him around an 80 overall. Vinny Curry coming back to the Philadelphia Eagles from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a 78. We have Brandon Graham getting a 93. This is always a rating that I personally feel like uncomfortable keeping him at. This is what Madden had him as 93. He's a Pro Football Focus darling. We know for the Madden ratings, they love Pro Football Focus ratings. So I'm not going to like dog Brandon. Just, I was incredibly frustrated with Brandon Graham. Look at any of my tweets last year. I was shitting on Brandon Graham more often than not. 4 sacks, 9 TFLs. 4 sacks, 9 TFLs. Even if you're super good from Pro Football Focus, you should be like an 87. At the most. But Matt had him as a 93. I always lower this rating. We'll just keep it as is for now. I personally don't ever really agree with Brandon Graham being into the into the 90s for his rating. He's good, but I don't know if he's like 93 puts him at top 5 right end in the game. I don't know about that one. D-tackle, we have Fletcher Cox. He's getting a 97 overall, 10.5 sacks, 12 TFLs last year. Second best defensive tackle behind Aaron Donald. I think he's a decent amount away from Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they play different positions. But if we're grading just pure defensive linemen, I still think Fletcher Cox is in his tier zone. Unfortunately, Aaron Donald's way far ahead. But Fletcher Cox still gets a 97. First team All-Pro. Was ridiculous last season. He's an absolute stud. We got Timmy Jernigan coming back, 82. Malik Jackson coming over from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty much a glorified defensive end that plays D-tackle. Not good at all against the run. But because he is really good at affecting the pass, he gets an 81. And there's the rest of the roster. Camus at linebacker, the most versatile player. Also part-time kicker. He'll get a 74. Zach Brown, another Pro Football Focus. We'll get 82 is a great starting point for Zach Brown, I feel. Nigel Bradham gets a 79 as well. Last year, Bradham, 97 tackles for the Eagles. Leader of our defense, of our linebacking core. In the secondary, lots of depth for the Eagles. No true star. We have Darby, who's getting an 80 overall. And I think Darby, again, his stats actually look like they were going to be ridiculous if he played a full 16 games for the Eagles. He had an interception in 12 pass breakups in 9 games. So if we're just using like football math, like he would have had like in the 20s for pass deflections, which from a statistical standpoint is pretty good. But I think Madden had an 83. We're going to knock him down to an 80. Avonte Maddox had an exceptional rookie season, graded out very well for Pro Football Focus. He'll get a 79. Sidney Jones, 77. Jalen Mills, 77. Rasul Douglas led the team 3 interceptions, 58 tackles, gets a 76. Strap, Cravon LeBlanc gets a 76. He was a Pro Football Focus #1 corner in the playoffs. So, and he was actually very good in the playoffs. Excellent, excellent player in the slot. So Philly finally has, because literally they all have ups and downs, and it's going to be a huge, huge offseason. If I had to guess, I think because Darby's still coming back from the injury. Jalen Mills is coming back from the injury. It's gonna be, we have Maddox, Sidney Jones, Douglas, and LeBlanc. It's probably gonna be, I'm gonna guess Rasul Douglas and Avonte Maddox on the outside for Philly. That's, yes, a 5'9" corner on the outside, and then they're gonna have Sidney Jones working the slot, and LeBlanc, unfortunately, is gonna be top depth. At free safety, Rodney McLeod's getting an 81 overall. We brought over Sendejo from the Vikings. He's a 78. Malcolm Jenkins, one of the best safeties in football, top 5 safety for my money. He's going to get a 92 overall last season. 97 tackles, interception, 8 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, 6 TFLs. Does it all for the Eagles. Incredibly, incredibly valuable piece to our defense. Hopefully he gets more money, gets a new contract. Jake Elliott gets an 80, and Cam Johnson with a 78. So there you go, guys. Those are my predictions for the Philadelphia Eagles Madden 20 ratings. As always, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4, saying peace out.